Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the H&H Sports Podcast. I'm Tanner Hicks, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Jackson Huey. Obviously, you can see we're doing another live podcast here. We've been having fun with the lives. We're just going to keep going until, whenever, I guess. Back on track with the college football content. Obviously a couple of days ago, you saw we did NBA content with the boys over at Ball Oasis, fun little pod there. Back to your regularly scheduled college football content. Speaking of college football, crazy, crazy week to say
Crazy.
crazy week to say the least. First off, obviously, the elephant in the room from last week was the Alabama-Tennessee game, and I'm going to say this with this isn't obviously it's a hyperbole just saying it about anything, but that was one of the craziest football games I've ever seen in my entire life. The missed field goal at the end by Alabama, and then the barely made field goal by the end by Tennessee. I thought it was blocked and completely blocked. I thought that it wasn't going to go in. But speaking of that kicker, he's never going to have to buy a meal in Knoxville for the rest of his life, ever again. Neither is Josh Heupel, bro. I've seen so many old Tennessee fans on my Facebook timeline just crying about, oh, I can't believe I got to see this again. Blah, 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 blah. Bro, they won game number 6 on the schedule. I understand it's Alabama, but they're treating it like it's a national title. Golly. Anyhow, that game was one of the craziest games I've ever seen in my entire life.
We didn't expect anything less though.
It was I thought Tennessee was going to lose that game because it would have not made me any happier. Nothing would have made me happier than to see Tennessee blow a 3-score lead at home against Alabama. Nothing would have made me happier than to see that at all. But they did pull through. Jalen Hyatt had 5 touchdowns. Hendon Hooker had 5 touchdowns, all of them obviously being to Jalen Hyatt. Bro, just that game was wild. Everything about it. Everything about it. They had the scoop and score. I thought Alabama had that game locked after that scoop and score. But no defense being played besides that. It wasn't really a defensive play. It was more the offense not being, in sync. But that entire game, from start to finish, it also felt like the longest game ever. Just because there was a lot of points and a lot of game stoppage.
Yeah, it was it started at 2:30 or 3:30 your time, ended at 5:30, 6:30.
Yeah, it was a pretty late game. But yeah, that game was absolutely wild. I meant to ask you last week this question, but I don't think I got to it. Is Tennessee the best team in the SEC now? Do you think they're better than Georgia after their win?
That's tough.
It is tough. Georgia's been
I think
questionable.
Based off resume, I mean, I know the teams they've beaten aren't good, but they do have 4 top 25 wins.
Yeah, they have the most top 25 wins in the entire nation.
I'd say yes. Right now.
You say they're the best team in the SEC at the moment.
At the moment.
Do you think they're the best team in the country?
No.
Who do you think's better than Tennessee right now?
I mean, I don't know. I guess I would say Ohio State. I think they're about like Tennessee.
Do you think Michigan's better?
Yeah, probably. They don't have a good offense, but they got a way better defense.
They have a championship defense. That is true. Dude, that game. I still think Georgia is better team wise, but I would not be surprised if Tennessee didn't beat Georgia. Your analysis on Georgia's offense has been correct so far this season. Your preseason analysis on Georgia's offense has been 100% correct. Georgia's offense has been shaky, nothing short of I don't want to say unreliable because they have a ton of yards, but that's mainly from playing like I don't know, like Vanderbilt. They sweetened the pot a little bit last week against Vanderbilt. But Georgia's offense, despite the yardage, is shaky. It's questionable sometimes, and playing a team like Tennessee, whose offense is pretty much flawless. Playing a team like Tennessee, whose offense is pretty much flawless. Alabama made Alabama made mistakes.
I'll be right back.
Don't worry, we're used to your technical difficulties and mistakes, but it's fine. We'll keep rolling. Alabama made plenty of mistakes in that game. Like not plenty, but they made enough mistakes to where they still lost the game after scoring 49 points. If you play a team like Tennessee, who's run and gun, running 90-plus plays a game, scoring 52 points in a game against a team like Alabama, their numbers defensively aren't there. Their numbers penalty-wise, like they have the number 2 penalty yards in the entire country. They're not disciplined, but they are talented. And when you shoot, I lost my train of thought. When you mix when you're going up a team like Tennessee, you have to pretty much be flawless on both offense and defense. You hope to contain that team defensively, but on offense you have to be flawless to match their offensive output. And Alabama was that close to being flawless, and that was the result. You can blame it on the kicker, but so many other things led to that game being in Tennessee's favor. That game was wild. That's probably going to stay the game of the year. It's the game of the past half decade, whatever you want to say. That game was wild, one of the craziest games I've ever seen. Clemson, Florida State, I didn't really watch much of that game, but I know Clemson almost blew it, and I was really hoping Florida State would not lose 3 straight, but it is Clemson. Michigan, Penn State. Now, this game surprised me. Through the first half, it was a close game, and I'm pretty sure Penn State was winning. I'm not entirely too sure. I don't remember. After the first half, they were down 2. Penn State was down 2. Michigan was up 2 after the first half. But after the first half, Michigan rolled through the entire, completely rolled. They had 400 plus, I think a school record for rushing yards in a single game with 400 plus, 450 plus. I don't remember the exact number, but they ran right through Penn State's top 10 rushing defense. And I thought the key to the game was going to be their quarterbacks. The quarterback play wasn't great in that game. It all came down to Michigan just pounding the rock down Penn State's throat, and that's what ultimately won them the game. Utah, USC. I had USC winning this game. And I'm pretty sure Jackson picked Utah to win the game. But Utah pulled through on a game-winning 2-point conversion. Game was crazy, man. Rising had 400-plus yards. Kincaid had 230 of those 400 yards. It was an absolute it was a crazy game. Classic Pac-12. It wasn't after dark, but classic ranked Pac-12 game. Speaking of a classic, a crazy week of college football. Have I said that yet? TCU, Oklahoma State. I thought Oklahoma State had this game bagged in the second half, but TCU's offense woke up, showed why they're top 5 offense in the entire country, and came back and they won that game. And I concluded whoever won this game, in my opinion, would end up winning the Big 12. And TCU has shown me no reason why they can't win the Big 12 this year. So first year head coach Sonny Dykes has gone way beyond expectations. I thought TCU going into the season, they're 6-0 right now. I thought they would cap at 6 wins. Just looking at their roster, when you look at the beginning of the season, their first game, they started off slow. They injured. They started their true freshman quarterback. I forget his name, but they started him. He gets hurt. Max Duggan, senior, 5th or 6th year senior, comes back in, and he takes control of this team, and he leads them to a 6-0 record. They're top 10 in the past rankings. I'm pretty sure. They're sitting at number 8, TCU, with first-year head coach Sonny Dykes, and the number 1 offense in the Big 12, number 3 in the entire nation as far as total offense goes. TCU's looking right, man. As far as Oklahoma State, I still like Oklahoma State. I don't know if they're doing. I don't think they're doing divisions in Big 12. I think this team could will meet again in the Big 12 championship, in my opinion. Both of these teams are great. Oklahoma State's question mark. Both teams question marks going into this game was defense. I predicted it would be a shootout. I thought it was inevitable that this game was going to be a shootout. Oklahoma State's defense is the reason they have a loss, the reason they probably should have two. Oklahoma's defense is going to be Oklahoma State's defense is going to be their demise this season. Their defense is really, really questionable. You expect that with a Big 12 team, but a team like Oklahoma State, who's been fairly respectable defensively the past however many years Mike Gundy's been there, you just got to be better defensively than that. But again, it is TCU who has a top 5 defense in the entire nation. Ole Miss ran right through Auburn. Tank Bigsby had a game, and they got some points late, but Ole Miss came through. Ole Miss, I'm kind of worried about Ole Miss after this game. They just let their foot off the gas pedal, and on offense, they still kept the train moving, the lane train moving. You know what I'm saying? But on defense, it's, like I said about Oklahoma State, that Ole Miss's demise this season, any reason that they lose a game will be because of their defense. And it's been the same thing with a Lane Kiffin led team his entire time coaching. The defense will be the demise of that team if they do end up losing a game. Which I thought that they could be a team to beat Alabama, but I don't think Alabama will lose another game this season if it's not against Georgia. I just don't see it happening. It doesn't really happen in the Nick Saban era. The last time it's happened in the Nick Saban era was 2019, when they lost that game against Auburn and they lost that game against LSU. A generational best team of all time, LSU, might I add. So, and it took their QB getting hurt. So it takes a lot to beat Alabama twice in a season, is what I'm trying to say. So Ole Miss is going to have to buckle up for that. Syracuse, NC State. Now, I didn't know how good Syracuse was until this game. And I also didn't know that Devin Leary would not start for this game, and I didn't know he would be out for the rest of the season. If I took those two things into consideration, I would have picked Syracuse. Hindsight always is 2020, though. NC State, two other last 3 games into the loss. You hate to see their quarterback going down. Ultimately, part of the reason why they didn't score a touchdown all game. But Syracuse, another part of the reason why they didn't score a touchdown all game is Syracuse defense is the real deal. They have the number 1 defense in the entire ACC. Again, the ACC isn't great usually every year. But Syracuse is the real deal. Tucker at running back is that guy. He gets most of the offensive load. Garrett Schrader's that guy. And their defense is the real deal in the ACC. Syracuse is going to finish with a good record in the ACC. I don't know if they'll beat Clemson this week, but Syracuse is the real deal. Mississippi State, Kentucky, moving on. The 1 week I picked Mississippi State, they end up losing. But Kentucky, they do pull it out with Will Levis back starting for them. He showed why he's getting top 5 pick hype in the NFL draft. He's showing why that he is the leader of that team. Chris Rodriguez had a game. He was the main reason why they won, in my opinion. And that defense keeping that Mike Leach offense in check. But you saw the team play way better when their leader at quarterback is playing. So I probably should have guessed. I probably should have looked to see if Will Levis was starting in this game. I probably would have picked Kentucky if I knew Will Levis was going to start that game. But the 1 week I picked Mississippi State, they lose. As we see, somebody has decided to join us again.
Let's give us another try.
The Kansas-Oklahoma game. Now, I thought Kansas would have a little late surge at the end. They did have a late surge, but I thought it would, end up, tying or, winning the game. Kansas, like we predicted, is probably going to lose the rest of their games, man. Their defense is going to be like I said this about Ole Miss. I said this about TCU and Oklahoma State. The defense is going to be the reason why they lose games. It just is. You can have the greatest offense in the world, but if you don't have a respectable defense, you're not going to win every game. And it showed with Kansas. They couldn't stop TCU and they couldn't stop Oklahoma. So it's going to be the reason why they lose games. 5-2 is still great for Kansas's standards as a program, but you hate to see 2 straight losses after going 5-0. So it's just the reality of playing in the Big 12. Iowa State, Kansas. I thought Texas was going to pull a classic Texas and lose at the end, but the late fumble, that Texas got sealed the deal for them. Illinois, Minnesota. I picked Illinois to lose this game. I thought Minnesota, the battle of the top two defenses in the entire nation, I thought Minnesota would pull this out. But Illinois is looking like, if the season ended right now, they'd be in the conference championship. Illinois is looking like the real deal. I know they wouldn't, because Michigan would be, I think. No, they're in the same division. Yeah, they would. Yeah, Illinois would be in the Big Ten championship if the season ended today. So yeah, Illinois is looking really, really good.
Really?
Yeah.
Over Michigan?
No, Michigan and Ohio State are in the same division, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. James Madison's first FBS game as a ranked team ends in a loss. Georgia Southern is pretty decent. They passed all over James Madison, like, good Lord. Van Treese almost had 600 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. James Madison still only lost by 7, but you hate to see allowing 600 yards passing. You're never going to win a game like that. Yeah, that was pretty much this week's game recap in college football. I mean, any other game we want to talk about? Not the Memphis game, that's for sure.
I didn't even watch it.
I'm not gonna watch the next game.
Yeah,
I think I
I didn't have
picked BYU,
service
or
where I was.
I think I picked Arkansas to beat BYU.
We probably both did.
Florida lost again.
Yeah, bad.
Florida hype might be dead. Notre Dame lost to Stanford. Very, very bad loss. North Carolina beat Duke. Yeah, that was pretty much it of this week's game recap. Again, a very, very wild week of college football.
Did you hit Utah USC?
I did. Yes.
Oh, okay. I must have been gone for that part.
I kind of because I didn't watch the whole game, but I did watch the 2-point conversion that did lead to the win. So
I didn't watch any of it, but I just saw that Utah won.
I kind of figured USC was due for a loss.
You know, my Utah playoff prediction, they're gonna get it with 2 losses.
Maybe in the 12 format, but not this season. Pick'ems this week. Memphis playing a top 25 team for the first time this season.
Why did you put this on here?
Listen, I'm sorting by top 25 on ESPN. Leave me alone. Memphis playing Tulane on the road against a top 25 Tulane team. Nobody's ever said that ever in football or in basketball. Tulane is a terrible program, but this season, they've been that team. Tulane is favored by 7 points at home. I'm not going to pick against Memphis. I did it once to start the season. I felt bad for it, even though I knew we were the far inferior team. I'm not going to pick against Memphis. These are the games we win. We never lose to ranked teams, but teams like East Carolina we lose to, like after being up 17. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm going to pick Memphis to win. We're not terrible against the American this season. 2 straight losses, but
yeah, I'm gonna take Memphis.
Yeah, I'm never picking against Memphis, but yeah, I think we could pull one out against Tulane. Iowa, Ohio State. I'm taking Ohio State by 70. The over/under is 49. They're expecting it to be a 49-0 game. That's just what it is. Yeah, C.J. Stroud is the Heisman front-runner. I don't care about Hendon Hooker. He had a great game, and he had a great week, but C.J. Stroud is having a great season. I'm not going to pick the Tennessee game. Syracuse-Clemson. Now, this is an interesting game. This is a very, very, very interesting game. Syracuse has the number 1 defense in the entire ACC, right? Top 10 in the entire country, right? Clemson is bottom half in the ACC, in total yardage on offense, and they are 61st in the entire nation in total offense. Now, Clemson usually finds ways to win these games, right?
Right.
But this could be Clemson's first loss. This is at home in Death Valley, but Syracuse is going to give them a run for their money. Syracuse is a good football team. They're gonna run the ball. They're gonna take time of possession.
You never thought you would say that, did you?
I mean, they've been cool the past few years. They won 10 games like in 2018, I think. But
okay, but time out. If I told you 3 years ago, you'd be sitting here saying Syracuse was going to beat Clemson.
I'm not saying they're going to win, but Syracuse is not just going to lay down to Clemson. Syracuse is going to be
okay.
Syracuse is going to pound the rock, take time of possession, and play good defense. That Syracuse is the Michigan of the ACC. They're going to run the ball 50 times, and they're going to play excellent defense. And Clemson has one of the worst third down defenses in the entire country, and Syracuse has a third down offense, like time of possession type of offense, a lot of third downs, staying on the field for a long time, and that is a recipe for failure on Clemson's part. I'm saying all these things about Syracuse, but I'm going to pick Clemson because they're at home, and Clemson has been good. Very questionable against Florida State, but I'm still going to go with Clemson.
Yeah, I'm going to take Clemson as well.
Now, if Syracuse wins this game and is ranked in the top 10, good Lord, college football is unpredictable.
Completely upside down.
Completely unpredictable. I don't know what to say. Cincinnati, SMU. Do we want to pick?
I think I'm going to go Cincinnati.
Yeah.
If we're picking Cincinnati,
I'll go Cincinnati. Cincinnati has won 5 straight since losing to Arkansas week 1. Cincinnati's looked good. SMU's looked shaky. Tanner Mordecai is still looking pretty decent, so I'm still gonna go with Cincinnati. Ole Miss, LSU. Now off air, our good buddy Elijah Seeger said that LSU would win this game. What do you think about it?
I'm actually intrigued that LSU is a 1.5 point favorite.
Yeah, they are favored in this game. I guess they top 10 team.
Like, I don't understand. Who knows something that we don't?
Right.
I mean, I know Ole Miss's defense. Ole Miss is off. Ole Miss is shaky. I know that.
Ole Miss has a top 10 offense in the entire country. They have the number 1 rushing offense in the entire ACC. But LSU has the 5th ranked defense in the SEC. But the last time LSU played a good offense at home, they got smacked. Now Tennessee and Ole Miss, they're similar. They're similar, but they're different.
To make this even more confusing, this isn't a night game.
Exactly.
So I'm going to go Ole Miss.
I'm going to go Ole Miss. I've been high on Ole Miss the entire season. They have been questionable past few games, but against Vanderbilt, they let the gas pedal off and they let up a bunch of points. Same with the Auburn game. Late in the game, they let their foot off the gas pedal and they score a bunch of points. Ole Miss has been shaky. I wouldn't be surprised if Ole Miss lost this game. But I'm still going to pick. It's the same thing with Clemson. I'm still going to pick them, but I wouldn't be surprised if they lost the game. The game day game of the week, hopefully it is the game of the week because these two teams have looked great. UCLA, Oregon.
Is this where they're going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oregon is a 6-point favorite in this game. Now you go ahead and talk go ahead and talk about this game. I need to do something real quick.
Yeah, these two teams, obviously Chip Kelly and UCLA look good. I'm not as good as this is Tanner, so I apologize. Oregon, ever since that loss to Georgia, have looked really, really good. I think it's hard to pick, honestly. We man, I think I'm gonna go. Where's this at?
It's in Oregon.
Mm.
Autzen Stadium. It is a big home field advantage being in that stadium. One of the louder stadiums in the country.
Give me UCLA in an upset on the road.
Oregon has the number one offense in the entire Pac-12. They have the number one rushing offense in the conference. But UCLA, on the opposite side of the spectrum, has the number one total defense in the entire conference. UCLA has looked great. Unexpectedly. I'm going to go with UCLA too. On the road. Oregon's a good football team. Oregon's really, really good. But so is UCLA. Chip Kelly's got that team looking really, really good. Dorian Thompson-Robinson's been in college for 10 years. And he's finally been really, really good. UCLA is really good. I'm going to pick UCLA to win this game. Texas, Oklahoma State. This is an interesting game.
It is an interesting game. I like Oklahoma State in a bounce back game.
Oklahoma State's at home.
In Stillwater.
Texas is second in total defense in the entire Big 12, while Oklahoma State is eighth in total defense, and they're top 30 in total offense in the entire country. Oklahoma State is definitely offensive oriented, like I touched on it earlier. Oklahoma State, their demise this season, like I said, has been their defense. Is the reason they do have a loss. Texas with Quinn Ewers has been great. Shutout against Oklahoma and Red River, nearly beating Alabama. He only played like a quarter, but still, they nearly beat Alabama. Iowa State's a good scrappy team, so I don't really have a problem with them almost losing that game, but I'm going to go with Texas. Texas is favored by 6.5 in this game. I'm going to go with Texas on the road to win this game. I'm going to go with Texas.
So you said last week the winner between TCU and Oklahoma State was your winner to win the Big 12.
Yes.
Is that still true?
I think TCU can win the Big 12, yes.
Huh?
I said I still think TCU can, win the Big 12.
I didn't know if you swap over to Texas.
I mean, Texas has looked good with Quinn Ewers at quarterback. But TCU, man, they have a top 5 offense in the entire country, and it's not looking like they're slowing down against anybody. So Sonny Dykes has that team looking really, really, really good. I still think TCU can win the conference. But I'm going to go with Texas to beat Oklahoma State in Stillwater. They're a 6.5 point favorite. It's looking like they don't think Oklahoma State can bounce back. So I'm going to go with Texas. The Longhorns. I'm not picking Boston College, Wake Forest. Mississippi State, Alabama. One thing I've learned in my life is not, anything important, but it's that Nick Saban doesn't lose back-to-back games. Ever. So I'm picking Alabama. The over-under for this game is 60.5. 60-0 Bama. I'm just kidding. It's not that. But Alabama's going to win by a lot.
Yeah. The spread's a lot, too. It's like 24.5.
21. They're covering. It's happening. They're covering. This is an interesting game, in my opinion. This is the the late ESPN or late ABC game. Penn State and Happy Valley going against Minnesota. Now these two
Penn State.
teams are similar. Minnesota has a good
Oh,
rushing.
at first glance, you would say Penn State.
At first glance, you would. Penn State, top 20 team in the nation, got killed last week against Michigan. Michigan broke a school record for rushing yards last week against Penn State, when I was talking about Penn State as a top 10 rushing defense in the league or in the nation. But Minnesota has a good rushing offense and a top 5 defense in the entire country. They're coming off a loss, but
A 7-0 loss.
pretty much. Penn State's favored by 4. I'm gonna still pick Penn State, but it'll probably be closer than people may think. This will be a classic Big Ten football game. Minnesota rather will keep it close against Penn State, in my opinion. But Penn State pulls through at home. That night games at Penn State. This is gonna be a whiteout game.
Dude, I want to go to those. I want to go to one of those so bad.
Dude, that looks so awesome. That atmosphere looks so awesome to be in. I don't think Penn State's ever lost a whiteout, so Penn State is gonna win, but it'll be close.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Penn State. What is the over/under?
44.5.
Under?
all day under.
I said that last week with Michigan too, and Michigan ended up putting up the over/under by themselves.
It's not college football is unpredictable. TCU, Kansas State. Now this is also an interesting game. Kansas State, when you look at their offense, you see Adrian Martinez and Deuce Vaughn and all their other players. You'd think they really have the worst offense in the entire Big 12, and they do. They have the worst offensive output in the entire Big 12. While TCU, like I've hammered the nail on this one, has the best offense in the Big 12 by a decent margin. That I can see Kansas State keeping it close. But if TCU starts to run away, I don't know if Kansas State has the chops to just keep up with TCU.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go TCU.
I think TCU could blow out Kansas State. Now, Kansas State does have a really good defense, right? Really good defense. That's the reason why they have a good record with as not as great as an offense that they have. But TCU offense is really, really, really good. So if they get in a situation where they're down 2 or 3 scores, I don't know if Kansas State can keep up. So I'm going to take TCU at home. They're only favored by 3.5.
Yeah, I'm going to take TCU. They might cover. I might take them to cover.
Dude, there's a game on right now. Wait.
Yes.
Appalachian State.
I forget who.
And Georgia State.
Oh, what's the score?
0-0. Bro,
Oh, okay.
That's so funny. There's a game on, bro. What?
I don't know. I have the Grizzlies on my TV, so.
Yeah, ready to watch that game after this. Kansas Baylor. Now, I will take Kansas to win this game. Baylor has been doo-doo. Baylor has been pretty bad recently. Blake Shapen's been good, but that entire defense, that entire team hasn't been great.
Are we just picking Kansas the rest of the way just to hope they get that 6th win?
I think so. Baylor's favored by 8.
I would feel so bad for Kansas fans.
I'm going to pick Kansas, bro. They're on the road against Baylor. I don't know. Baylor's favored by 8. Kansas is not that bad. I'm going to take Kansas. I don't know if Jalen Daniels is coming back or not.
But on bowl games, aren't there some 5 and 7 teams that get invited?
If there's not enough 6 and 6 teams. Or if
Kansas would have to be one of them.
If there's not enough 6-win teams, is what I'm saying. Like, if there's not enough 6-win teams to fill out the bowl schedule, then yeah, they put in some 5-win teams.
Yep, Kansas would have to be the first option.
For sure. Pretty much every game I want to cover. Vanderbilt, Missouri, the battle of the bottom of the barrel.
Missouri is favored by 14.5, but let me go on and say it. I like Vanderbilt to cover.
Vanderbilt may cover. Vanderbilt may win.
I like Vanderbilt to cover.
I'm taking Vanderbilt to win the game.
I'm not saying win. That's covering, but I think Vanderbilt definitely covers.
I'm taking Vanderbilt to win. I don't care what you say. Vanderbilt is taking the dub in this game. Only Vanderbilt game I'll ever pick.
Where is this at?
Missouri.
Oh, darn. I was going to say, if this is a national, they might tear down the goalpost for this one.
No, but I'm going to take...
Hey, they were close to coming down like a couple weeks ago when they had Ole Miss on the ropes at halftime.
They almost took the goalpost down at halftime. They almost stormed the field at halftime for being tied with Ole Miss. Texas A&M, South Carolina. I don't even want to talk about Texas A&M, man.
I think South Carolina's favored in this game.
A&M's favored. This is in South Carolina.
3.5, ain't it?
Yeah.
Is A&M covers this, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I want to, like, my heart wants to say A&M covers this.
South Carolina's coming off a ranked win. Without Will Levis, but South Carolina's coming off a ranked win. I'm going to take South Carolina at home. I don't like Texas A&M at all. Texas A&M is... I don't like them at all.
Yeah, I'll take South Carolina.
South Carolina's got the momentum right now, so I'm going to take them. UCF, East Carolina. UCF is favored by 5. UCF, I thought they should have been ranked over Tulane, in my opinion. If they wanted to put an American team in there, I thought it should have been UCF.
It should have been the one that. It should have been the one that scored 70.
70, yes. UCF has looked phenomenal. So I will take UCF in this game. East Carolina is not a slouch at all. But Memphis makes any team look good. But I'm going to take UCF.
We are like 2 weeks from basketball season, my brother.
We're holding on. Holding on. I'm going to take UCF in this game. UCF. I'm going to take the over in the game.
What's the over?
64.5.
Probably, because UCF probably scored 70 again.
Yeah. They cover that by themselves. Yeah, I think that's it for the college football pick'ems. Crazy week of college football. Have I mentioned that? Hopefully we can get another crazy week of college football. The college football has not failed to disappoint this season. It's been absolutely wild. Now to the NFL side of things.
Yeah, something's wrong this football season. I mean, Tennessee's good. The Giants are good. The Jets are good. Like, what is going on?
Bro, the Ravens continue to blow my mind. Every game that they've lost has been a 2-score lead blown. To the Giants, to the Bills, and the Dolphins.
Trailed by a total of 14 seconds.
The Ravens, man. They had a meeting with the Falcons in the offseason. Hey, but Mariota's looking good with the Falcons. No Falcon slander is allowed, or Mariota slander is allowed this season. Arthur Smith is the best head coach in the entire league. Don't at me. Anyway, the Giants.
I did not know. And you can call me stupid for not knowing this. But I did not know that Arthur Smith was Fred Smith's son.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Arthur Smith really could just be sitting at home doing nothing. But Arthur Smith is a G, and moved up, not because his dad is rich, but because he's that guy. He's an NFL coach just because.
Right.
He's NFL coach just because he wants to be. He has
Fair
all the
warning.
money.
If I get excited, it's because John Morant is on the TV.
Yeah, Arthur Smith really is an NFL coach just because he wants to be. Is that he has all the money in the entire world, and he just just is a head coach just because. Did you watch the Thursday game?
The Browns and the Commanders?
Commanders Bears.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant. Bears and Commanders. Some of it.
I didn't watch a single minute.
I watched more than you then.
And it was
I watched
great
first
time.
quarter.
Great use of my time not watching that game. Bro. Carson Wentz is going to be out for a few weeks. Bro,
Yeah.
both of those teams just suck, man. Thursday, what's the Thursday game?
The Thursday game this week is Cardinals Saints.
Right.
D-Hop's back, but
Hollywood's out.
see, I got it. Yeah, Hollywood's done. They traded for Robbie Anderson.
Right.
Whoop-de-doo, I guess. I got excited as a fantasy owner because I drafted D-Hop, right?
Yeah.
Realized he's back this week. And then I realized, 1, the game's on Thursday night. 2, Call of Duty drops this week.
Kyler Murray pick season. No. D-Hop is going to help out that Cardinals offense.
I don't know if I like my D-Hop pick yet.
Bro, I think part of offensive struggles for the Cardinals or all of the struggles this season is because D-Hop has been out. Kyler Murray has and he said in an interview or a press conference or whatever that he said this year has been the hardest year since his rookie year. And he's had D-Hop every year of his career since his rookie year. So having D-Hop back should definitely help that offense tremendously. Obviously D-Hop is one of the best receivers in the NFL, so having a top receiver really helps out an offense. Shocker.
If D-Hop goes off tonight and scores like 2 touchdowns, or tomorrow night and scores like 2 touchdowns, we got to give him a trophy or something for saving Thursday Night Football.
D-Hop, they make the Cardinals play every Thursday. All right, I got a question. This is a serious question, and I want you to think this through. Do you ride out with Bailey Zappi, or do you put Mac Jones back in? If you're the Patriots.
I can't lie, I haven't watched the Patriots game.
No, you just got to look at Bailey Zappi's stats.
All right, give them to me.
Zappi, since he's taken over as the starter, 596 yards, 9 yards per attempt, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick, 73% completion.
I did see something about he was the first rookie to ever have his first 2 games at 100 or greater
passer rating.
Yes.
Zappi is not afraid to throw the ball downfield, is what I've learned from Zappi. And Mac Jones is. You could say that Damian Harris is out, but Ramondre Stevenson's been great. But you could say, their game plan is kind of shot with Damian Harris being out. They really are a run-first team, the Patriots are. You could fall on that argument. Also, Ramondre Stevenson's been great, so they really have no reason to fall back on that game plan. I think Belichick is more confident in Zappi throwing the ball downfield than he is Mac Jones, and I think game plans change because of that.
So
I think I'm gonna answer first. I think you ride it out with Mac Jones simply because you spent a first-round pick on him.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same way. Are we looking at Brady Bledsoe already?
Mac Jones is not Drew Bledsoe. Drew Bledsoe is really good.
Well, yeah, but you know what? You get the
Drew
point. What I'm
Bledsoe was the
saying.
first overall pick. I know what you're saying, but Bailey Zappi's looked great, and Bill Belichick's been
Yeah,
in
I
the,
think
Bill
he's right.
Belichick's been in this situation before.
Yeah, and he made the right decision last time. So
I don't know what you do in this situation. If it were me personally, I know where somebody's drafted isn't the end all be all. But as the GM, Bill Belichick's the GM anyway. I don't know.
see,
But Zappi's looked
part of
better
me
objectively.
thinks I think Belichick's liked Zappy more since day one
I think so too. He's more comfortable.
because
You've seen in the gameplay, he's more comfortable with Zappy slinging the ball
no,
downfield.
not even then. But like at the draft, you needed O line or anything else, and why did you get another quarterback?
Belichick's made some
Like
very questionable draft picks before.
you just drafted Mac Jones the year before.
Yeah,
Why did you draft?
I don't think really anybody took the Patriots draft seriously last year. Taking Cole Strains in the first round was very unexpected. He's been fantastic this season. It was worth the pick that they selected him at, but at the time it was a questionable pick, so I don't think anybody was taking the Patriots draft seriously after that one.
Shout out Cole Strains from Chattanooga.
For sure, Tennessee, Maine. But yeah, Zappy objectively has looked better than Mac Jones has, in very small sample size that they both have. I don't know what I would do if I were Bill Belichick's shoes. I wouldn't want to be in that situation. I think he will ride out with Mac Jones simply because Mac Jones has shown that he can. He's mature, for as young of a quarterback or as little of experience as a quarterback that Mac Jones is. He's shown maturity and he's shown that he's able to lead a Patriots-led offense. I would probably ride out with Mac Jones if I were the Patriots. But that's not to say Bailey Zappi isn't deserving of a starting spot for the rest of the year. I just wanted to ask you.
Yeah, I'd probably ride it out too. I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's really a bad decision either way.
Yeah, both of them look pretty decent. The Jets smacked the Packers in Lambeau.
Did you see what Sauce Gardner said?
I did, but I don't remember what he said.
It was like something like, they picked us because when you play in London, you get to pick if you want your bye week or who you want to play next, and they picked us.
Rodgers needs a receiver, bro.
Yeah, if I was Rodgers, I would have called Odell Beckham Jr. a long time ago.
Rodgers needs a receiver. Breece Hall is the real deal, though. Zach Wilson sucks. This year he sucked. This year he's been bad. But Breece Hall has been great this season. I finally started him this week, but I still lost. So whatever.
I was the only person high on Breece Hall at the fantasy football draft.
I was lucky enough to pick him off waivers. Y'all dummies. But Breece Hall has been great.
Now, hey, I'm not trying to get off the topic here, but in the past so many years, I don't remember how many it is exactly, at least one rookie running back has finished top 10 in fantasy.
For sure. I don't know what to say to that, but for sure.
Might have two this year.
With Dameon Pierce?
I don't know. Kenneth Walker's looking pretty good too.
Also Kenneth Walker. I have both Dameon Pierce and Breece Hall, so you can suck it. Colts, Jaguars, Matt Ryan had a really good game. He threw 58 times. Led the Colts to a good win over the Jags. From now on in the Colts-Jags series, just pick the home team to win. Just bet on the home team. It'll hit. Just bet on the home team. Yeah, Matt Ryan looked good. ETN looked really good. I think they should just give the ball to ETN more. I I don't understand. Okay, obviously I'm not as smart as a NFL head coach. Those guys are there for a reason, right? But when you have a running back on only 10 carries, averaging 8.6 yards per carry, you got to give him the ball more. Simply, you have to give him the ball more. And when you only give I'm not saying that's the reason they lost the game, but it's just question.
I thought it was pretty hard to throw the ball when you're averaging 8 yards a carry. 10 yards a carry.
I wouldn't even want to. Just give him the ball until he stops averaging 8 yards a carry. It just seemed like sometimes things can just be so simple. Vikings.
Hey, yo, he's having a pretty good day on the ground. Let's take the ball away from him.
That's what the Raiders did in the playoffs last year against the Bengals. Josh Jacobs was averaging 6 yards a carry, but they still let Derek Carr throw 50-something times. Wild. Vikings start 5-1. I was high on the Vikings to start the season. I wasn't very high, but I was high enough. I had them in the playoffs. Vikings are doing well. My prediction looks fantastic. Not to toot my own horn, but toot. Bengals Saints, bro. I picked up the Bengals defense in fantasy simply because the Saints literally had everybody on roster on IR that game, and Bengals defense got me 1 point because they got a sack late in the game. Bro,
could be worse. You could have had the Jaguars defense, and they got you -4.
Bro, I might as well have just started the Bills defense. I wanted to get a defense because I have Bills defense, and I wanted to get a defense because Bills defense was playing obviously the Chiefs. So I was like, man, Chiefs got a good offense. I'm just gonna get another defense. I might as well have just started Bills defense because they still had 8 points and a couple turnovers, or at 1. But yeah, Bengals Saints. Bengals get a much needed win. 3-3 looks way better than 2-5, or 2-4 rather. Bengals are really struggling to start the year. I know they came out with a win, but the Bengals are not looking so hot. Speaking of not looking so hot, the Ravens are looking doo-doo. They have these leads, man, and they just can't keep them. Kenyon Drake looked really good in his 10 carries. I don't really know much to say about the game. Giants pulled out at the end. Very close, scrappy game. It's been the story of the Giants season. They have these close, scrappy games that they, learn to, pull out.
All of a sudden.
Brian Daboll, man, has that team looking pretty good.
Coach of the year.
As of right now, definitely. The Buccaneers, another team that's struggling. Tom Brady, really left his wife to lose to Mitch Trubisky.
Did you see that thing I sent you on Twitter?
Bro, the Bucks are struggling.
There was, yeah, it was bad.
Bucks are struggling. I think Mitch is starting again this week. I think Kenny Pickett is still on concussion protocol. Steelers are still only 2-4. Bucks are struggling. The Rams are also struggling. They did pull a win out here against the 1-5 Panthers. McCaffrey looked decent in this game. He had a good game. He had 89 receiving yards and 69 rushing yards.
He's trying to get out of Carolina because he's on the trade block.
Carolina's trying to blow it up. They fired their coach. They're trying to trade all their good players and get picks and rebuild and tank. But I agree with them. What's the point of having good players if you're still going to lose anyway? Might as well trade all your good players and get good picks. You know what I'm saying?
So where do you think McCaffrey's going if he gets traded?
I'm not too sure.
I heard Buffalo get called.
I mean, that'd be so crazy. That'd just be unfair. Buffalo would know how to use McCaffrey so well; it would just be unfair. I saw a post by CBS Sports.
Any team with Josh Allen and Christian McCaffrey in the backfield, you're pretty much done
for sure. And even
Even how much Christian McCaffrey's made of glass, you're pretty much still done.
I saw this post by CBS Sports. They said like top trade candidates for Christian McCaffrey if he is traded, and the Broncos and the Commanders were on that list. Like, bro, whoever made that needs to be fired. Anywho, I thought it's like I said about Travis
The
Etienne.
Broncos have nothing to give up.
They gave up everything already. It's the same thing I said about Travis Etienne. I know there were many other reasons why they lost this game. They only scored 3 points on offense. Their only 7 points came from a pick six. But when you have McCaffrey, who's averaging well over 4 yards a carry, and who has almost 100 receiving yards, and he only has 20 touches. I know 20 touches is a good bit, but when you have someone like McCaffrey, you got to give him the ball more. It just seems so simple. When you have a good player that's having a good game, you give him the football. Simple. Rams win. Cooper Kupp didn't have a good game, and they still won. It's looking like
he had like 80 yards.
Still, he didn't have a great game. He didn't have a touchdown, I don't think.
He didn't have a touchdown, but gosh, what do you classify a good game for? As Cooper Kupp? Talking about Cooper Kupp didn't have a good game. He had like 9 catches and 80 yards.
For Cooper Kupp standards, he didn't have a great game. Seahawks beat the Cardinals. Tariq Woolen. I saw like the graphic on the TV that said like his career arc is basically like the same as Richard Sherman at both of their points in the career. Like he's got 4 picks in 4 straight, or a pick in 4 straight games. With like 4 picks this season. Tariq Woolen's been on one. So is Kenneth Walker on the offensive side of the ball. Kenneth Walker. I told you to start Kenneth Walker. You better thank me. Kenneth Walker is fantastic this season. I hate to say you like seeing a player get hurt. Nobody likes seeing a player get hurt, but Rashad Penny, him getting hurt is gonna be beneficial for Kenneth Walker because it gets him way more touches, and he had a great game. Bills Chiefs, the game of the week.
Yeah, I think the Bryce Young hype is dead in Seattle.
Yeah, Geno Smith is looking like the real deal. Geno Smith has been a top 5 quarterback this season. He didn't have the greatest game, but he's still been a top 5 quarterback.
He still ain't wrote back.
Still ain't. Bills Chiefs. This game was great. You never see Mahomes sell in a late game situation like that, but he did. It was mainly because it was a great defensive play, but Mahomes looked rattled under pressure, and he looked, not Mahomes, and he threw a pick. So Bills defense came up clutch when it mattered most. Josh Allen hurdled a guy. That was crazy.
I saw that.
But did you see Tony Romo predicted the score of the game?
Yes.
The exact score of the game. He was at the beginning of the game like, man, this is going to be a lower score game than people may anticipate. It's probably going to be like a 24-20 type of game. Romo is a time traveler. He's done this the past 5 years he's been in the booth. Cowboys, Eagles.
We didn't watch this because we were on.
Right. We were doing the NBA pod. But do we want to keep Cooper Rush, or do we want to take Dak Prescott off the bench and put him back in the game? Because Cooper Rush.
Okay. I know how. Go ahead, finish what you're going to say.
I'm not going to slander Cooper Rush because he's a career backup, and we expected this out of him from day one. So to finally see it against the best team in the NFL, to slander him for that is kind of ludicrous. But again, the fact that the Cowboys were only lost by 9 with Cooper Rush having that type of a game is a testament to how good the Cowboys are. Once Dak comes back, the Cowboys are going to be a super, super good. They're going to be hard to beat.
Okay. Dak's going to be back this week.
Right.
Here's my thoughts, and you tell me if I'm wrong. I would hold Dak out.
You wouldn't play him?
Well, their bye week is in 2 weeks.
You would sit him until the bye. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yes.
Who do they play?
They play the Lions and the Bears. I think you can get past the Lions and the Bears, or at least one of them, without Dak.
Yeah, but does Dak want to sit?
I mean, I know, I get that part, but like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I think you can. I think it's manageable to get by those 2 games without Dak.
Probably, I would say so. But I don't know. You want your best player out on the field, no matter what.
Yeah, but you want him at 110% too, not.
I do get that. That is a valid thing to think about. But again, Dak is healthy.
Because they're 4-2 now.
Yeah.
Even if you split, you're 5-3.
Yeah, it's not terrible, but you're fighting with the Eagles and the Giants for the division lead. You're only 1 game behind the Giants for second place. And the Eagles don't look like they're going to lose anytime soon. So you want your best player out there to push for the division lead. I think you play them. Because you want to win these games, because the NFC East for the first time in forever is a 3-team race.
Yeah.
Monday Night Football, they keep putting the Broncos in primetime. Don't know why. Broncos are terrible. Russell Wilson.
They did score a touchdown.
A touchdown. Proud of them. What I thought was wild is that Justin Herbert threw 57 times and didn't throw a touchdown. I thought that was wild.
You know why?
Why?
Because I saw on Twitter yesterday, FanDuel boosted his anytime touchdown or anytime passing touchdown from like negative 800 odds to positive odds.
And then he just didn't, probably because of that.
And then he just magically didn't throw a touchdown.
That is pretty funny. That is it for the recap. The recap of this week's games. So I apologize for that.
The Broncos lost another game in overtime on a field goal. After they both had the ball.
And primetime. And in primetime. The Broncos are abysmal franchise, poverty franchise. I apologize for the sloppiness of this episode. We have more technical difficulties, and we apologize about it, but we're gonna try and be better. The pick'ems for this week in the NFL: Atlanta at Cincinnati. You could argue that Atlanta's been better than Cincinnati this year.
You could, but I'm gonna take the Bengals.
I'm actually gonna take the Falcons in this game. I trust the Falcons right now more than I do the Bengals. It's in Cincinnati. That hasn't really mattered much. And I like Atlanta right now. Their team's not good, but Arthur Smith knows what to do with nothing.
Oh, we forgot. Kyle Pitts did score his first ever touchdown in America.
That's so crazy. Kyle Pitts gets his first NFL touchdown in the States. So crazy. The Colts at the Titans. The Titans finally back playing after a bye. Missed watching my Titans play. Colts Titans in Tennessee. I'm gonna go with the Titans.
I'm going with Titans.
We've won however many straight versus the Colts.
We've already beat the Colts once.
Season sweep again. If we win this game, I think we're like in sole possession of the division. So, I mean, we have the lead right now, but like if we win this game, we'll be like, more than a half game above the Colts. I'm confident Tennessee can win this game. Green Bay at Washington. Taylor Heineke is starting at quarterback for this game. It's in Washington. I'm mentioning this game because the Packers haven't looked like a lock for a win so far this year. They already have as many losses as their average losses the past however many seasons LaFleur has been a head coach already. So Packers haven't really been reliable this season. I'm still going to pick them to win.
Yeah, I'm still going to go Packers.
Because Washington's pretty bad.
Yeah. I don't know. Taylor Heineke.
Mr. XFL. Cleveland at Baltimore. I'm gonna pick it right now. I'm going with the Browns to win this game on the road.
Really?
The Browns win this game. I don't trust the Ravens right now. I don't.
I'm gonna go Ravens.
I'm gonna take the Browns.
They're a better team. They just gotta hang on.
Yeah, but that hasn't mattered at all.
Yeah. I'm going Ravens.
I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns. The Jets in Denver to face the Broncos. I'm going to go with the New York Jets. New York has looked better as a team. New York has looked pretty good. Quinnen Williams has looked like the best defensive player in the league so far this season. Quinnen Williams has been outstanding this year. He's been their best player. Breece Hall, having a good rookie season so far. Broncos have looked quite the opposite. They've had a disappointing season, way under expectations, while the Jets have, exceeded expectations already. I'm going to go with the Jets at home or on the road in Denver to beat the Broncos. The New York's just looked better. I really like their defensive line. They have so many people they can just plug in and play and make an impact. The Broncos have been quite disappointing. Their defenses look great. The reason most of their games have been boring is because their defense has been shut down, and Patrick Surtain has been one of the best corners in the league so far this season. And he just completely blankets the number one receiver and makes him ineffective. That's part of the reason why the Broncos games have been boring is because they just have lockdown defense, but their offense just can't score. So they've been low scoring.
Talking big Breece Hall reception game?
Probably. I would hope so. I'm
gonna go Jets.
Yeah, I'll go Jets as well. Seattle going to LA to play the Chargers. The LA Chargers in Inglewood.
Give me the Chargers. This is where the Seattle.
You think the brick wall hits Seattle now?
Yeah, I think this is where the brick wall hits Seattle.
I'll go with the Chargers. I don't know when Keenan Allen's going to be back. It may be this week. I'm not too sure. But I'm going to go with the Chargers to beat the Seahawks.
It really doesn't matter when Eckler's catching the ball 30 times a game.
Yeah, but it does help having your best receiver out there.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Super Bowl, I forget which Super Bowl it was, but Super Bowl of 2019, Kansas City 49ers, or Chiefs 49ers in San Francisco. Santa Clara, technically. 49ers lose to the Falcons after I was pretty confident in the 49ers before they lost to the Falcons. Obviously, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. This will be a good game. I'm going to go with the Chiefs on the road. The Chiefs, even though they did lose last game, the Chiefs, I'm confident in the Chiefs. They'll bounce back. They usually do. They usually don't skid. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs on the road at San Francisco to win this game. The Sunday night game.
Yeah, I'm going Chiefs too.
Yeah, I should have let you pick the game. My fault. The Sunday night game. Now, if Tua or Tyreek isn't playing in this game, this is probably the worst game they could have picked for it to be Sunday night. It's the Dolphins at home.
Are they not?
I'm not sure.
I thought they said Tua was going to play.
I don't know. I haven't seen anything about it. But it's the Dolphins at home against the Steelers. This is a classic rivalry type of game. But if the Dolphins are fully healthy, it'll probably be an interesting game with the with the way the Steelers defense has played, and with the fully healthy Dolphins.
How long does TJ Watt have left out?
I think a few more weeks, probably 3 or 4, maybe less. I'm not sure. He's a freak. He'll probably come back sooner than we expect. But fully healthy Miami so far this season is undefeated at 3-0. They're on a 3-game skid after starting 3-0. But if they're fully healthy, a fully healthy Miami team is undefeated. So
yeah,
I'm gonna go
Pittsburgh. Is it at Pittsburgh?
It's in Miami.
Oh no, I'm going Miami then.
I'm gonna go Miami too. It'll be interesting to see how well Tua handles pressure. Obviously we know the Steelers blitz a lot. It'll be interesting to see how Steelers or how Tua handles pressure after his pretty concerning head injury.
If Pickett was playing this game, I would go Steelers.
But Trubisky's coming off a win.
Man, I'm thinking, I don't know. They're bad. They're already bad. Give me the Steelers. The picks are already terrible. They're already shot.
I'm gonna go with the Dolphins at home. I don't understand these primetime games that they pick. It's really perplexing. Chicago has back-to-back primetime games for whatever reason. I'm not sure. Against New England.
Yeah, we did. It's like we didn't even expect them to be a good team heading into the year. So
yeah, like
I know these are all predetermined, but nobody expected Chicago to be good. So why are they on primetime?
It's a head scratcher for sure because nobody had any expectations for Chicago heading into the year. I thought they were going to be the worst team in the entire league. And
when you were looking at the schedule, why was this not Chiefs 49ers? Or because your thought process was you would have had Trey Lance versus Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
Why was that not this?
But there aren't too many primetime worthy games. I mean, Ravens Browns is a pretty good rivalry to put on primetime. Like you said, Chiefs 49ers. What kind of game is that, bro? Bears Patriots.
On the bright side, we do get the Manning cast this week.
Yeah, we do. It's been rough without him for sure. Chicago, New England in Foxborough. I'm taking Patriots. I don't care who starts at QB this week. I'm taking the Patriots. The Bears don't have an offense. They don't. They might as well just punt.
I'm taking the Patriots.
The fact that they go out and play offense is insulting to the game of football. Chicago is abysmal.
Poor Justin Fields.
Shorter live episode this week. There was a lot less to cover. There were some technical difficulties. We do apologize about that. We do appreciate you guys joining the live. Fun episode to make. As always, the lives usually are. We appreciate you guys watching. We will be live next week. We are still planning to be live every week until, we just don't. We're still planning to be live. These lives are really fun to make. So we appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate you guys listening. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Turn on post notifications so you guys never miss the podcast episode. Subscribe to the podcast on follow us on Spotify, follow us on Apple Podcasts. We are everywhere you guys get your podcast. Follow us on there. We appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate you guys listening. We'll see you guys next week.